they've made, and he didn't talk at length, but Sankey's move during this expansion or during this run of the college football playoff and the expansion of the playoff, and then ultimately the landscape shift of college football, he is and has been and is the most powerful conference commissioner in the sport at this point. And whether or how they pulled this deal off behind closed doors to secure Texas and Oklahoma, I can't say, how that goes down, and nobody knows, and everybody's blindsided, right? Everybody's blindsided. But he has agreed to a contract extension that will keep him with the conference through 2026. That news coming out earlier today. The Sooners and Longhorns at this point will bring the total number of teams in the SEC to 16 in 2025, unless something changes on that front. Sankey was 57, took over as the SEC's 8th commissioner when Mike Slive stepped down in 2015. Slive passed away in 2018. Sankey also helped broker a 10-year agreement with Disney that will give ABC and ESPN exclusive broadcast rights to SEC football and basketball games starting in 2024 and 2025, continuing through 2033 and 2034. Sankey, one of the longest tenured Power 5 commissioners in college athletics, second only to the Big 12's Bob Bowlesby, who was inducted in 2012. Of course, the ACC with a new commissioner in Jim Phillips, the Big Ten with a new commissioner just a couple of years ago, the Pac-12 also with a new commissioner. So the Power 5 commissioners far and away, when you talk about the Power 5 commissioners, Sankey and Bowlesby far and away more experienced and arguably have more power in the room than anybody else. And those two just went head-to-head on this expansion deal, with Bowlesby throwing barbs at the American Athletic Conference about and ESPN about trying to take down the entire league. Now, we had an interesting interview last week with ESPN's Ryan McGee right here on the show that shakes the Southland. That interview with Ryan is up right now over on the website. Head over to ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Again, he said, quote, "I think the Big 12 is toast, and I don't like it." And I think that's where a lot of people honestly fall in this conversation about college football in this sport that you love, is that it's frustrating that things that you've held so dear for so long have fallen by the wayside. And that, I think, brings angst and animosity and frustration to people, because one of the things that we love about this sport, and I said this last week, and I don't think this will ever change, is, and I don't even know if this is a word, right? The regionality of the game. And some of that is now lost. The fact that when most of you were kids, your father or mother or whoever, uncle, could put you in the car and you could drive to almost every football game that Clemson was going to play during the regular season. You could drive, if you were a South Carolina fan, to almost every venue that South Carolina was going to play in when you were growing up. That was the beauty of the regionality. Is that even a word? Like I got to look that up later. Somebody remind me. But that was the beauty, right? It was like high school football. You got your regions, and all those regions are right there together. I mean, the longest drive we had when I was playing high school sports was maybe an hour and a half. That was it. Everything was, I mean, you could play Blackville in 10 minutes, Williston in 10 minutes, Denmark in 10 minutes, Silver Bluff in 30 minutes, Bamberg in 15 minutes, Wade Hampton in 30 minutes. I mean, Jasper County, or whatever they call that school now, I know they've changed the name, but Jasper County High School, when I was a kid, was the furthest we had to go, and it wasn't far at all. You could about throw a football from Barnwell's football stadium to Williston or Blackville. And that regionality of the regions that you have in high school sports is what makes it great, because everybody works at the plant. Everybody works together. These communities often share like one Walmart. And so everybody knows everybody, and players on one side or somebody's cousin on the other. And in college football, for the majority of the time it has existed, has had regionality. Please tell me that's a real word. And it has been the thing, the fabric that has been woven through so many of our lives, is the fact that you've witnessed not only Clemson facing North Carolina on a regular basis, but NC State facing North Carolina and Virginia facing North Carolina. And it's part of what's vanished the bigger this thing has gotten. I mean, I challenge you to find 25 South Carolina fans that have driven to College Station for a matchup with Texas A&M. Most of them have flown. It's just something that's lost when the game continues to get as big as the game that we all love is started to get. And the size of these conferences is a part of that, in the reason that the, wait for it, regionality of this game has kind of gone away for the fan. Final segment next.
Scott here with Traditions Fine Jewelry.